Suicide Due to Cyberbullying by Mel, Ellie, Abby, and me. Importance. In more recent years, suicide among adolescents is more common, one leading cause being cyberbullying. We think awareness towards suicide prevention for cyberbullying could have a lasting impact and could lower the rate in years to come. This here is an article in a New York Times newspaper of a young woman who pushed a boyfriend into committing suicide. Cyberbullying, the act of harassing someone online by sending or posting mean messages, usually anonymously. Stories. Michelle Carter. Background. Michelle, age 22, from Massachusetts, talked her boyfriend into committing suicide. How? Cyberbullying through her text and phone calls to him. Conrad Roy, age 18, killed himself with carbon monoxide in his truck. He doubted himself and Michelle talked him into getting back into his truck. The article by Kate Taylor states she was found to have caused her boyfriend's death by words alone. Outcome: guilty. Michelle was sentenced with involuntary manslaughter. Jail time: 15 months in county jail. Brought up to the Supreme Court to look at the case. First Amendment and due process was her argument. Also, there is an HBO documentary, I Love You, Now Die. The Commonwealth vs. Michelle Carter. Other related stories, both end in young suicide. Haley Lambert, 13 years old, began being bullied at school due to having a condition of epilepsy. Children in her class would call her, telling her to kill herself. Kenneth Wyshon, 14 years old. He was bullied because he was gay. Teens in his class made an anti-gay Facebook group and called him, making death threats. This here is a video from the News 4 on a young girl who was cyberbullied to death.
Thank you for joining us. I'm John Overall.
And I'm Angelique Lazardi. The Pima County Medical Examiner has confirmed that a Tucson teenager committed suicide by hanging.
The young woman's mother claims her daughter was cyberbullied. News 4 Tucson's Matthew Schwartz reports. It's new at 10.
It is tragic enough for a mother to lose a child. When you're the person who finds your child's body, it's unimaginable.
My daughter was bullied so much, she committed suicide. She hung herself.
Diana Corral says her daughter Maya was cyberbullied by peers and couldn't take it anymore. Diana said on August 24th she had a premonition something was wrong, so she went to Maya's home on the southwest side.
I found her hanging in the closet by a USB cord, and I had to take her down. I had to untie her cold, lifeless body.
Diana raised Maya herself and says they were like best friends. Maya was 18 years old and spent almost all her short life in a wheelchair. A spinal cord injury from a car crash when she was an infant left her a paraplegic. Her family claimed Maya's car seat was faulty and sued the manufacturer. As part of a settlement, she was awarded $2.7 million, which she received when she turned 18. She was a high school senior and bought a $500,000 home.
It brought out a lot of bad people. Her money brought out kids that were pretending to be her friend, but just using her. And my daughter didn't know. She didn't know. She had never been or had friends like that.
The teenagers who bullied Maya hid behind phones and computers. They used Facebook to post incredibly mean comments. One called Maya a vegetable. Another said we should roll her off a mountain and kill her and then kick her while she's dead, and then we would throw a party.
And I just want to tell the bullies to please think about what they say to hurt people, because it doesn't hurt just the person that they want to bully. It affects the whole family.
Diana says Maya sent texts to at least 2 friends hours before she killed herself, and no one did anything.
I feel like maybe she could have been saved. It makes me angry, and it hurts me that she probably sat in the closet waiting to see who would come rescue her, and nobody did.
Arizona's anti-bullying laws don't cover cyberbullying, but charges could be brought within harassment statutes. And Maya's mother says she will pursue charges. Maya attended Ombudsman Charter School. A school spokesperson declined our interview request.
What we're seeing across the nation and in Tucson is that the increase in suicidal attempts and death by suicide is increasing.
Tammy Hilly is the coordinator for Tucson Unified School District's counseling department. She says if you know someone you think may be suicidal, say something. And if you're a parent, watch your kids' online activity.
That is really, really I think the biggest piece in this, because kids can say all kinds of things on social media that they're afraid to say face to face, and it can be very, very hurtful.
What would you say to the people who bullied your daughter?
Please change your ways, because your ways are ugly, and I don't want any other child to be hurt by your words the way my daughter was. Keep your bad remarks to yourself. If you don't like someone, then just leave them alone.
One of Maya's friends told me that Maya simply could not ignore the bullies' online taunts. She kept replying to them. Maya's mother hopes the bullies remember this for the rest of their lives and ask themselves, was it worth it? Matthew Schwartz, News 4 Tucson.
And the online bullying posts that we've seen did not come from students at Ombudsman Charter School. We have put up the school's entire statement on our website, kvoa.com.
Be one of our friends, and this is what she's got to say about cyberbullying.
Okay, and I'm Ellie's roommate. So the first question is, has cyberbullying and suicide affected you personally?
Suicide hasn't affected me personally. I would say cyberbullying has affected me and my peers, but not to a great extent where it's been serious.
So you've never personally been affected by bullying on any social media?
Yeah.
That's good. So what is your understanding on all of it?
That it affects younger kids and it happens often.
Yeah. Have you heard about the Michelle case?
Yeah, I actually read about it in a magazine.
So basically what happened with it is this couple, the boyfriend was really suicidal and really unhappy, and the girlfriend was not being supportive at all and was saying basically supporting him in killing himself. How do you feel about that?
I think that's awful. I think she should have supported him and told him that she should have gotten him help when she knew that he wasn't okay.
Yeah, for sure. So what happened was he killed himself, and then there was a huge case surrounding it, and she got sentenced to a lot of jail time, and basically got she basically was charged with murder, and I don't know what degree.
Yeah.
But do you think that's okay? Do you think she should have been charged with murder? Because she didn't really murder anyone.
I would say murder was, being charged with murder is definitely very serious. She definitely should have gotten punished, but I feel that was really intense.
Yeah, it's pretty controversial right now, and a lot of people are feeling the same way. Do you think there's any changes that could, happen, or do you think any changes could prevent this? Cyberbullying?
Yeah, I feel there's always something that can be done, but as of right now, there's a lot of hotlines and a lot of mental health places you can go. I feel it's all just about who you surround yourself with, to get yourself help and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So if one of your friends or somebody a peer of yours was suicidal or being bullied online, what would you tell them?
What would I tell them? I would try to be as supportive as possible without sounding scary, and I would try to get them help in a way that doesn't seem intimidating to them.
Right. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
I just think that suicide is really awful, and shouldn't be a way out.
Right, yeah, for sure. Okay,
Thank you so much for sharing.
Cyberbullying. Over 80% of teens use a mobile phone regularly, making it the most common medium for cyberbullying. 68% of teens agree that. Nearly 43% of kids have been bullied online, and 1 in 4 of all kids have experienced it more than once. 70% of students report seeing frequent bullying online. 68% of teens agree that cyberbullying is a serious problem. 81% of young people think bullying online is easier to get away with than in person. About 75% of students admit they have visited a website bashing another student. Cyberbullying continued. There are many statistics about cyberbullying, but each case study has a varying statistic. Cyberbullying starts around the age of 9. However, this case study says it somewhat ends around the age 14 years old. But at 14, it becomes more cyberbullying and sexual harassment. Between 65 and 85% of kids were affected during this study, while 90% of middle schoolers had their feelings hurt through online. Lastly, for this study, 50% of students heard of a different website that just bashed other students' self-esteem. Studies also show that 45% of intimidation happens when teens log onto their social media accounts and get consumed in it. In the first 2 weeks on Cyber Mentors, more than 20,000 young people registered to talk to peers about problems. Since cyberbullying has been increasing rapidly, recent studies have shown that there was a significant association between cyberbullying victimization and mental health problems in mainly girls, not too much in boys. Cyberbullying is also seen as a new form of abuse. For example, another study has shown that out of all teenagers, 93% of them have access to a smartphone. Out of 93% to 72% of them are on social media, which can be dangerous. Therefore, 32% of adolescents experience different forms of cyberbullying. In a recent study that has been performed between 11 to 15 years old, 26% were bully victims. This was throughout 40 different countries. Suicide rates. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people. Bully victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider committing suicide than non-victims. A study done in Britain showed that at least half of all suicides among young people is due to bullying. Warning signs of suicide: depression, saying their goodbyes to loved ones, expressing their feelings of depression and feeling like they cannot do it anymore, saying that life would be better without them around, ongoing sadness, not being as social, losing interest in activities they once loved before. A lot of talk about interest in death and dying. What is happening? Why is it happening? Bullying in the adolescent years is becoming very bad and out of hand. Part of this problem is due to how accessible technology and social media is to younger eyes. There is a strong connection to be found between cyberbullying through social media and suicide. Kids who are constantly bullied are naturally going to be unhappy and feel depressed. This will lead to them thinking the only out they have is death. What should we do to fix this problem? Collectively as a group, we decided that some things that could be done to fix this large issues are: more restrictions on social media straight from actual company headquarters, parents having a better understanding of what's going on and what's happening, harsher punishments for bullies, trying to make bullies see the impact they're having on others. If you or any of your peers are suffering from cyberbullying, depression, and/or thoughts of suicide, don't be afraid to speak up and get help. You're never alone. If you take a look at the bottom of this page, you'll see the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline phone number. Call 1-800-273-8255. Here are some of our works cited. Some other works cited